From the Detroit Free Press, it's Wednesday, June 30th. Here are today's top stories. Presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kristen Shamus. Henry Ford Health System announced Tuesday it will require all 33,000 of its employees, as well as students, volunteers, and contractors, to get a COVID-19 vaccine by September 10th. It's the first hospital system in the state to mandate coronavirus vaccines. To be considered vaccinated, workers must have had 2 doses of either the Moderna or Pfizer coronavirus vaccine or a single dose of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The requirement includes employees who work remotely and workers who have had the virus already and have antibodies. Some medical and religious exemptions will be considered, but they're limited to people who have had severe allergic reactions to a dose of a COVID-19 vaccine or to ingredients in the vaccines. Bob Riney, Henry Ford's COO and President of Healthcare Operations, said the hope is that most workers will still choose to get the vaccines, although the health system is prepared for the possibility it could lose some employees because of the mandate. To learn more, go to freep.com.
I'm Adrienne Roberts reporting for the Detroit Free Press. At first glance, a new rule that calls for dates of birth to be redacted from court records in Michigan may not seem like a big deal. But the new rule, set to take effect on July 1st, could have implications for employers and landlords who are performing background screenings and journalists looking up court records. The Michigan Administrator of Courts, which is the administrative agency of the Michigan Supreme Court, says the change is part of an overall effort to protect the public from having their identities stolen as the state embarks on a long-term project to allow for an expansion of public access to court documents. But background check companies say it will make performing those checks nearly impossible because they won't be able to verify a person's identity without their date of birth. The new rule has been in the works for years, and it's gone through some revisions since its inception. But background screening companies still take issue with it because they say it adds another layer of work, from getting consent from the person whose background is being checked to potentially calling the court to release the record. They're hoping for, at minimum, a delay in the rule's implementation.
I'm Sue Solaski, Detroit Free Press food writer. Michigan's governor and lieutenant governor sent a letter to the Small Business Administration Agency because of concerns over critical restaurant aid being halted. The aid was part of the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, administered by the agency. Previously approved aid earmarked for a priority group that include women and minority-owned businesses was halted because of lawsuits filed by restaurants in Tennessee and Texas. The governor's office says small businesses have been resilient during the pandemic, and relying on aid promised will help them stay afloat. The lawsuits argue prioritizing the fund to groups based on race and gender is unconstitutional. The letter urges the Small Business Administration to act quickly and provide alternative resources to those restaurants impacted. It's unclear how many restaurants received letters saying previously approved funds will not be forthcoming. The agency received more than 370,000 applications requesting $76 billion in funds. It far exceeded the available fund of $28 billion. It's estimated that 1 in 6 restaurants across the country permanently closed because of the pandemic.
This is J.C. Reindl for the Detroit Free Press. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced a boutique hotel in Midtown Detroit to close for good. The Inn on Ferry Street, located off Woodward and just north of the DIA, shut its doors in March 2020 and won't be reopening. The Inn's owners say it traditionally got a lot of business from university and museum visitors, and also weddings. But these guests have been very slow to return. The Inn is composed of 6 houses and carriage houses from the 1880s and 1890s. It opened in 2001 and is co-owned by the DIA and a nonprofit called Midtown Detroit, Inc. The owners are still deciding what exactly they plan to do with the 6 houses.
I'm Andrew Hammond for the Free Press Sports Department. The Detroit Lions are bringing fans back to training camp. On Tuesday, the team announced that fans will be allowed to attend the team's training camp starting on July 31st. For the 15th straight season, the team will be holding training camp at their training facility in Allen Park. There are 10 days on the training camp calendar where fans will be able to attend. The gates will open an hour before the start of practice time. Once fan sections are at capacity, the gates will close. Autographs will not be allowed at training camp as fans must stay 20 feet away from the players, coaches, and staff per NFL rules. Fans are encouraged to go to the Lions website for more information.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.